Yeah, thanks all so much for being here today. I think it's a really candid discussion, which is important, and it's great to see the kind of willingness to engage on it. So just quickly to outline the kind of situation as presented to us, it's like the committee is aware of a significant controversy in the field, and we noted that in our recent report, and then we noted kind of significant support for that as well. I think people got in touch with us, individual members and the committee, in support of that report. And then in contrast, you've provided us with links to individuals and groups that believe in the practice and how important the supports can be. But then we've As I Am, and that's one of a handful of DPOs that we've engaged with, and they're publicly expressing an opposition to it and it being not compliant with the convention. And I haven't been able to find any comments from the UN committee on it. I don't know if anyone has any information on that, or if any of the other members know of anything. So I think we all accept the evidence that you've presented, and absolutely your sincerity as well on it. So basically I'm wondering if there's any other advice or input that you have to help us better address the issue, because you can see as well the position that we're in as a committee. And I suppose just to keep it really brief, because thank you so much, Marianne, I do have to go soon. My question is mainly, can you describe how maybe informed consent can play a role in this, and perhaps in the controversy that we're looking at? And we've kind of spoken a bit about the Assisted Decision-Making Capacity Act and the kind of issues with that, also the benefits of it, and I'm just wondering how consent could come into this conversation and maybe guide us a little bit. Thank you so much, and I'm happy for Mary to go ahead before the answer comes in, if that makes it... Yeah? Thank you so much.
Okay, I appreciate that, Mary. So, do you want to start, Alan?
Sure, yeah. I suppose maybe if we start with consent and assent, we sometimes talk about consent and assent. So, for assent in behaviour analytic practice, even for those without a voice, it means that they continue to engage in so for Amy and her child that walks away from the house when they're no longer interested, that's the assent-based process. So they're moving away from it, so they no longer want to engage in it. Okay, so assent-based practice is forming a mainstay of behaviour analytic practice now at the moment. It's becoming stronger in the evidence base. And that's where learning takes place, where the person wants to engage in that learning. Okay, consent differs because a person can consent to do something at one point and then not engage in it later. So we want to see both. We want to see both consensual practice and assent-based practice. And then for the assisted decision-making, it's absolutely vital, the Assisted Decision-Making Act, and it's very, very welcome in the support of community who may have an impairment around their decision-making or require the support of that act. It's very, very important for us. And what it allows is that it clarifies that decision-making and some of the things that Deputy Ellis touched on at the beginning there. So putting the rights of the person at the forefront of that, and then any decisions that be made by the person and their decision maker reflect the will and preference of that person. Now, we really want to see behaviour acknowledged as will and preference. So where Teresa's young man is very unhappy in school and he's expressing that through his behaviour, that should be addressed as will and preference. Where Teresa is able to support that young man to develop skills, and now he is happy in school because he can express his needs, again, that's him expressing his will and preference. So it's very much tied, and we're looking forward to working more on assisted decision making in the years to come.
Anybody else? Are you okay?
I might just mention, just in relation to engagement with members of the autistic community who are directly opposing the practice of kind of the implementation of behavioural science practices. I mean, we are engaging with certain individuals. We are having discussions with individuals who have been very openly against these practices. And what we tend to find is that when we sit down in a room and when we have a conversation with people and we explain the perspectives that we've shared with you today, and we explain how, you know, things can be done in different neuroaffirmative ways, generally we get agreement from those individuals and we get some mutual and shared understanding. We've made great progress with some of those groups. We still have a bit to go, but we do feel that just having an open conversation and, you know, at the beginning of the opening statement, we're all here for the same reason. Having that shared understanding and then working towards those shared goals, we do tend to see that we see find that we see progress there. So we're very hopeful for more of those conversations to happen in the future. So hopefully it'll make your decisions less difficult.
Thank you. Mary Siric.